Let's start the recording. Yeah, good morning, everyone. So today we'll continue the HANA Studio administration part. Okay. So in HANA Studio, in the previous classes, we discussed about overview, landscape. Overview means just overview of the entire database tabs. All these tabs overview we can see it here. So separate like this is the volumes tab. So here we can see in the volumes tab also we can see there. So volumes space volumes means data log shared memory status and version all the service of all the services. So when you restarted the system, what is the version here? So all the information is displayed in the overview tab. In the overview tab, it is displayed. So see Linux version. So all the version here it is displayed. All the version will be displayed here in the here. We go to the landscape tab here. Here all the services status. Whether we have the family members, right? These are the family members. All the family members are green, up and running. Are there any memory issues, CPU issues? Everything we can see from here, right? Alerts tab. Are there any critical errors? So here we can see any critical alerts in the last 24 hours, right? Those alerts we can find out from here. So see here, iPad alerts, backup, so medium, so CPUs run out of the consumption, 79% CPU used, 61%. Like that, everything, whatever happens, whatever any issues are happening, everything will be recorded here in the alerts tab, right? It will be displayed. The performance tab, we see one session, multiple threads will be allocated to the our users, right? So this is the volumes tab. So we discussed about the up to this point, system information and everything, right? So configuration tab. So any questions from anyone till now regarding this HANA administration tabs? So this we have to check on daily basis to get the status of our database healthy status and everything. Okay. So if nothing, we don't have anything, then so we'll start like configuration tab. In SAP HANA, so we have configuration tab. What is mean by configuration? What is mean by configuration? So suppose, let's give you an example here. In SAP, if you want to change the system settings, system configuration, so in which transaction you go and change the parameters and settings? What is the transaction code?
RZ10.
RZ10 or RZ11?
RZ11.
Yeah, RZ10 or RZ11 for the SAP. This is the application. Man, same as like in SAP and a database also, we have settings, right? By default, we will get the default settings, right? After that, suppose if you want to do some changes, we want to increase the some values, we want to decrease the values, adjust the parameters and everything. So in here, we have HANA Studio. In the HANA Studio, there is a tab is called the configuration tab. In the configuration tab is for the parameters tab. Here we can change the all the settings. Here we can change the all the settings. All the settings like, so in the here we can change the all the settings. Settings like, so suppose if you want to increase the timeout value, port number, suppose instance number, suppose if you want to change anything, so or increase the value, memory parameters, anything, we have to go to the HANA Studio. In the configuration tab, here we need to change the settings here, right? So how SAP level we will do all the settings, here also we will do the settings. By default, during the installation, we will get the settings. During the installation, we will get the all these things and everything, right? During the installation, we will get. But After that, we need to adjust it. Depends upon the our requirement. We need to adjust the some settings. For that one, we have to use this configuration tab. Configuration tab. The configuration tab, if you see each process, there is a one INI file. Suppose index server, we have index server.ini, statistic server.ini, access engine.ini. So DP server.ini, doc server.ini. So each process, there is a separate INI files are there. Inside of this INI file, so we have parameters are available. So global.ini, it's the global level one, system wide. If you change here, it will impact all the process. Suppose example, memory. Memory will be used by the all the process. CPU will be used by the all the process, right? So then the respective parameters are available here. Respective parameters are available here. Backups, authorization. So whatever you want to change, all these things, memory. Suppose you want to restrict the memory, then you can the memory allocation parameters are available here. Memory allocation parameters are available here. Allocation limit, how much you want to allocate. Okay. So global allocation limit. Global allocation limit is mere. So how much memory you want to allocate this tenant database. Suppose here you have total RAM size is 57 GB. In that 51 GB you allocated to the HANA Studio, HANA database you allocated. Suppose I want to now not the 51 GB, I want to only 40 GB, I want to allocate it. Then just you can put the 40 GB here. Then in the MBs you have to give it, click on the save button. So, but when you are saving, you will get the error. What is this error means? So you cannot directly change the settings in the tenant database. That is the error. Why? Because what we discussed in the during the HANA discussion, in the HANA earlier, we discussed about when you are doing the any changes of the any tenant, you have to do it from system DB only. You have to do it from the system database only. But now what you are doing? Directly you are doing the changes in the tenant database. So which is not allowed. So that's why which is not allowing do the changes in the directly in the tenant database. Okay. So we have not to do here in the tenant database. So we have to go to the system DB. In the system DB, we have to do. Why? Because initially we discussed system, all the tenants related. So operations, administrations, everything will be do in the ground floor, which means system DB will take care of tenant database stopping, starting, everything. Suppose we want to stop it, right click, then you can stop the, so you can stop it here, you can stop it here, you can start it here, you can restart the tenant databases as well. So those things we can perform it from here. So go to the configuration tab. Here you have the INI files are available. Suppose daemon.ini, compile server.ini. So global.ini for all, index server, so name server, preprocessor. So all the process related INI files are available. Suppose we want to do global level settings or you want to do index server level settings. So then you can open the index server, then you can check anything index server related parameter you want to change it. Then you can change it. Anything you want to change it, you can change it. So you can change it. Okay. So same as like you can change it the values. Suppose the most frequent parameters are memory parameters. Okay. Most frequent parameters are the memory parameters. It's a very important parameters. So that is called the memory parameters. It's a very important parameters. So we will discuss only about the memory parameters, very important parameters. So just to try to remember this memory parameters. Sometimes they may ask you, what parameters, did you change any parameters recently? Yes. What about this one? So global allocation limit, global underscore allocation underscore limit, global underscore allocation underscore limit parameter, then statement memory limit, then statement underscore memory underscore limit underscore threshold, how much percentage we have to use it. So these three parameters are very important parameters, very important parameters. These three parameters will control the entire system memory utilization and entire your performance will control it, right? If you go to the global.na, in the global.na memory parameters, so go to the memory manager. Here memory manager, here you can see the global allocation limit. Currently the value is the default one. Default one means it's using the all the memory, whatever the allocated memory is available, whatever the free RAM memory is available, entire memory it is using. No, I don't want to that much of memory. I want to restrict it. I want to use only 40 GB only. Instead of 50 GB, I want to use only 40 GB only. Then save it. Then you have changed the value. You have changed the value of the specific database. Then go to the here. Then go to the here 40 GB. Now 51 GB allocated, right? Just click on the refresh button. Refresh button. Then it's a changed. The memory allocation value changed to the 39 GB only. So which means so out of 57 GB, this HANA database, so entertained to use only 40 GB only, 40 GB only. It entertained to use 39 GB or 49 GB only. Depends upon the settings you have done in the configuration tab. Settings you have done in the configuration tab. So this global allocation parameter will control the memory usage of the your HANA system. Will control it. Will control the memory usage of the system. So you can change it from here. You change it dynamically, immediately it will allocate it. Immediately it will allocate it. So that is what the configuration. So the memory usage from here to up to only 40 GB, it is limited. Remaining, we have the 57 GB. Out of 57 GB, only 40 GB used for this HANA database only. Remaining 17 GB is free at OS level. So it is free at operating system level. So that much of settings we can perform it here. So here also immediately it is affected to the tenant database as well. The sub account, the tenant database also it is affected. So this type of configuration we can perform in the here. The next one is the statement memory limit. Suppose sometimes what happens, few statements, database level data loading means in the form of SQL statements. Some operation is happening, some transactions are happening in the database means in the form of so SQL statement only, in the form of SQL statement only, it is executing. So in any case, sometimes what happens, the SQL statement will take longer time. So longer time means it is sometimes the query is big. Suppose I'm trying to use the 2 years data. I want to pull the 2 years data. That time what happens? It will keep on loading the data, 1 GB, 2 GB, 3 GB, 4 GB, 30 GB. Then one SQL statement using the 30 GB. What about the remaining transactions? Then immediately HANA system will goes down. So to avoid this type of issues, so we can also set the limitation for SQL statements as well. Here we have the SQL statements. I want to use only 2 GB. 2 GB to SQL, each SQL statement will use only 2 GB. Then, so we can limit it. Entire your physical memory, entire how much percentage threshold, how much percentage you have to use for the SQL. Only entire HANA memory, 90% of the physical memory should be used for the SQL statements, remaining for the entire physical operations. Like that, we can set the parameters. So not only these parameters, so remaining parameters, some timeout parameters, some thresholds, some increase. Suppose if you don't know where is the parameter in the filter condition, if you type time, suppose I want to limit this timeout value 60 to, so 62, I want to increase it just for example. Then save button, then that will be increased here. So I want to increase the idle connection timeout is the 24 hours. Then I want to change it to the 14401. I want to change this value, then save it. So like that, we need to change the parameters. So sometimes, so as per the reports, our manager asks you to change the HANA parameters. So basically, to changing the HANA parameters, you have to come to the here HANA Studio configuration tab. You need to change the parameters. So sometimes we don't know, we are not aware of where to change and everything. Then in this case, you can filter it here. Yeah, just if you put the settings here, then automatically the parameter will be displayed. Suppose I will take the example here. Here I don't know. Here I don't know the HANA parameters, which parameter I don't know. I want to check. So suppose SAP HANA memory parameters. Just I will type it here. So then I got the initially I got the memory parameters only, right? Just open the memory parameters. So here it's saying that these are the parameters: enable tracking equals to on, memory tracking equals to on. Then global allocation limit, which we changed, right? Then statement memory limit, which we changed. Then statement memory threshold, which we changed now. So see, if we type the memory parameters, we got only this one. Why? Why? Because these are the very important. Suppose I want to change this enable underscore tracking. I don't know where to change it. Then immediately I can put here. Then I got the information. Then immediately I can open it. Then off, they are asking us to enable on. Then I change it to the on. Done. Done. It's done. Yeah, like that, we need to change the our values. We need to change the values. So these are the parameters. So same as like you will get the, so which parameter, what is the maximum memory? So wherever you go, this memory restriction parameters are very important. Why? Because so normally this will control our entire system usage, As we discussed in the previous calls, for us, how food and water is very important to control that one. Same here, memory and CPU also very, very important for the this HANA process. So that's why, so for their food and water, we will call it as the CPU and memory. So if you restrict, if everything is okay and CPU memory, the process will be green, up and running. It will give the long life for us, right? That's why we will change it here. Not only memory parameters, we have other parameters as well. We have other parameters. Depends upon the situation. We can change the memory. We can change the parameters here. Then we can restart it. So few parameters restart is required. Few restart is not required. Okay. Few are the dynamic in SAP level also. Few we can change it, right? Few we cannot change it. So those things we can we know, right? This is about the configuration tab. So I'm not going more about each and every parameters, because just you should know aware of how to change the parameters and where to change the parameters. Means this is the tab, configuration tab. We can change the configuration of the, so entire system configuration we can change it, right? This is the tab, system information. The next one is the system information. So in the system information, we know, we already discussed it. So suppose I want to know the some open transactions in the system. Just right click and execute. Yesterday we discussed about this one, right? So this information will be displayed here, right? So same as like I want to know the failed backups, lock history, everything. You can find out the some reports from here. That is the system information. So the next one is for the diagnosis files. Diagnosis files means troubleshooting files. Yesterday also I just given the glance on the diagnosis files. Diagnosis files means report. Each process, it will create a one log file at operating system level. That same files visible in diagnosis files as well. Diagnosis file means error files, troubleshooting files. Suppose each process, suppose we have the process, right? Compile server, name server, daemon, preprocessor. Each process, you can see each process files are available here in the diagnosis files. Suppose in the tenant database, we have the index server access engine. So the access engine dot trace, index server dot trace, the trace files are available here. So if you open the trace, what exactly happens? If you open the trace, so what exactly, that is a trace file. What exactly happens here? So here the information will be displayed. Are there any critical errors regarding this one? The errors will be displayed. So what is the save point? How the save point happening? Is it happening every 5 minutes or every 6 minutes? What is the timelines here? You can see here 21:01 save point happened. Then 21:06 minutes after 5 minutes again one more save point happened. The recently only, right? The when is the previous save point? Then 20:58, 50, not 58, 57. When is the save point? Yes, 20:56. Then after 5 minutes, then save point happened. So the save points, you can see everything we can find out from here. What exactly happening? Reloading the column store tables. Whenever you're stopping, whenever you're starting, so the reloading of the column store tables will be happen, right? We today morning we restarted the HANA database. The reload's done. The reloading of the column store table is done. So destination file. So where the destination? So slash HANA data. Once the transactions are saved, the data will be saved here as part of the save point interval, right? That is what we discussed. Entire database related operations will be tracked here. Index server. The main is the index server here. Why? Because index server is the main process. Here all the data resides, all the data storing, entire data operations, everything will happen in the index server only. So that is the reason all the log files, everything will be available in the index server only. So index server.log file is the most usable. So name server.trc, just name server related information, topology, host name. So all the information will be stored here. Everything is okay. Everything is okay. But if you see any error, then we should aware of. See here. So here, yesterday we have some issues with the database, right? Endpoint. Failed to open the channel details. So could not determine the master name server. So then topology active. So unsupported file systems in this one. The file system which is not supported here. So we can see here. So we can see the related information from here. The related information we can see it from here. So everything it will be created, the name server related. The same time daemon, right? Web dispatcher. Then same compile server. So compilation of the programs. So all the information will be tracked here. Compilation, processing the unstructured data. So you can see the data here, right? So you can see the data log file. It's kind of log file, log information. Something going wrong, everything will be tracked here. Something is going wrong, so the error will be displayed here. In SAP level, if something wrong, you want to check the log files. So where to check? You will go to the work directory. In the work directory, you will check the logs, right? So here also, OS level, we can check it out. I will explain when we are discussing about the file systems. In the HANA Studio level, if you go to the diagnosis files, here we can check it. Simple example. Okay, I will tell a simple example. So you had some, you are having fever, right? Then you will go to the diagnostic center. So then immediately will they give that person immediately they will give medicine? No. First of all, you want to check some reports, right? For that one, he will ask you to get some reports from the lab, right? You will go to the lab and you will get the some. You will test it. You will get the some reports. Then you will show to the doctor. By seeing that reports only, doctor will give some prescription to you, right? So based on that same thing. Then here also we have same diagnostic center, right? Diagnosis files, diagnostic center, right? Who are diagnostic centers here available? So it's HANA, right? HANA related all the process, diagnostic files are available here. So Ravi related diagnostic files are available, right? Daemon related, name server related. Each process there is a one file is available, diagnosis files. So by checking that one, by checking that diagnosis file, so we will come to know what exactly happening with my name server. So everything we will solve. So we are the doctors for this process. For us, we have that there are doctors are available in the outside in the hospitals, right? So here we are the doctors. Just assume you are the one of the doctor for so in HANA to troubleshoot, to maintain, to check the status of the all the process and everything. We are the doctors, right? So that's why we need to check what exactly happening with my index server, name server. So suddenly this process is down, stopped. Then your client or manager will ask you to investigate what exactly happened during that time. What happened with the name server? Can you please investigate it? You want to investigate it, you need some logs, right? Some clues, right? What exactly happened. So it's kind of CBCID investigation. You need something, right? So those logs are available in the diagnosis files. You can open the diagnosis files. You can check the logs at a particular time. What exactly happened? At a particular time, what exactly happened with my name server? Maybe it's restarted, started. So all the kind of information we can find out from here. All the information we can find out from here, right? So this is the diagnosis files. Now you got it right. What is mean by diagnosis files? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now next one is the trace configuration. Trace configuration. Trace configuration. This is also same. I will compare to the SAP. SAP level, if you want to take the trace, in which transaction codes you will go and take the trace?
ST01.
ST01, ST05, right? SQL trace, performance trace, and NQ trace, RFC trace. All these things we can see in ST01 and ST05. We can take the traces, right? Here also in the trace configuration. So I could not able to do some investigation here. Why? Because the logs are not enough. So logs are not giving some information here. In this case, you need to enable the tracing, right? So tracing by default, the database trace is active. This is one of the important interview question. So in which trace by default active? The database trace by default active. That's why each process is writing the log file here. Because here the trace is active. So I want to track some SQL statements, long running SQL statements. Then just in future also now itself I want to track. Then you can go to the edit configuration, just click on the active button. You want to activate for specific database user or all the users? All, you can make it all. Suppose I want to track so Ravi related information. There is a database user Ravi. I want to check what exactly is doing. I want to check this information. Then click on the next, finish. Then the database, the expensive statement trace is active, which means whatever I am doing here with my user, with Ravi user, everything will be tracked. The expensive statements, the statement, if the statement is expensive means long running. If the statement is running longer time, longer than the specified threshold, the threshold we specified, right? Then immediately that will be tracked. Which statement, who executed, how much time it's taken, each and every details will be available here in the diagnosis files. In the diagnosis files, it is available. In the diagnosis files, it is available. The trace information. Suppose I want to check the system performance is very bad. I want to enable the trace and to see. Sometimes your SAP will ask you to enable the trace. Enable the trace. I want to all users, you can make it all. Only specific user, you can type specific user here. Then all. Then immediately you can see the performance trace is running here. The performance trace is running, which means the log files will be generated here. The log files will be generated. If you go to the diagnosis files, now you can see the log files here. The log files will be generated. The log files will be generated here. Yeah, the log files. So profiler, SQL plant trace, all the log files is generating. Still see here, the log files generation, the performance trace is active still. It is active. So it is active. This is the cancel button. If you cancel it, the operation will be cancelled here. Save the performance trace job. Right? So like that, we can track the trace. We can enable the tracing. So I want to not the performance trace. I want to use a specific trace, the user trace. So specific user daily is connecting, is doing something, then system is behaving very abnormal way. Then I want to find out the user trace. Suppose the user trace is called the trace name here. Who is the user? Ravi user. What is the application user? Application side. Maybe DDIC is the application user. I want to track this entire procedure. I want to track it. Then I have configured the user specific trace now. So what happens now? Whatever the Ravi is doing now, database level, everything will be tracked here. Everything will be available in the diagnosis files. Everything will be available. So by default, the database trace is active. But by seeing these logs, I am unable to find out the exact error. But I need more logs, more clues. In this case, go to the trace configuration. You can enable it. Sometimes your manager asks you to enable collect the trace. Go and collect the trace from HANA Studio. Then collecting the trace, you have to do it from the HANA trace configuration. So this is the way we have to do it. Okay. Sometimes your manager enable the expensive statement for all users. Instead of one user, we will mention like all the users. Then just to remove the username, then it will be enabled for the for all users. So like that, we can collect the SQL trace, performance trace, expensive trace, all the traces we can collect it. Right? This is about the information about the trace configuration. So any questions, any doubts in the trace configurations? If you enable it, the log file will be generated here. In the trace configuration, the log will be generated here. In the trace configuration, so in the diagnosis file, you see the log files will be generated. Log files will be generated here. By you can check in that logs and you can fix the issues. You want to merge all instead of downloading individual, you want to merge. Just there is a merge operations. Just last 24 hours log files I need. Only last 1 hour log files I want. Then you can just filter it out. Just click on give the time range. Then it merging the all the diagnosis files. See here, all the diagnosis files are merged here. Everything will be one file. It will be merged. Right? See here, everything is merged here. All the log files, 24 hours log files, everything is merged. Where is the error? Where is the issue? Everything will be merged here. So you can see here, like this, we can merge it. I want to delete, just delete. I want to delete all the log files. Don't delete it. So why? Because without this one, you cannot investigate further. So it's very important, right? Diagnosis information. You want to collect the more logs, including views. So then you can collect the logs as well. So you can just collecting the diagnosis information. So like that, many options are available here. So you can use these options. You can track the your issue and everything. More test cases we can enable the rare cases. We will enable the trace. Then we can figure it out so we can collect the traces, right? So all the diagnosis files are available here. Whatever the trace collected, everything is available here. You can find out, you can filter it the date, you can find out the information from here, right? System information, configuration, volume step, performance step. Here, system log, voila, PC, PVC. These first 5 tabs are very important. They may ask you the questions. Configuration tabs, performance tabs. So landscape tabs, where can we check the blocked transaction in the performance tab? We can check the SQL plan cache, SQL expensive statement trace. We can enable it. We have enabled the SQL statement trace, right, for all users. So that's why you can see one is trace is active, one trace is active here. So which any jobs are in progress, nothing is in progress. So entire HANA we can monitor from here, right? So this is the HANA Studio administration. So we have some other tabs as well. Open administration means this one. HANA cockpit means previously it was inbuilt with the HANA, it's separated now. Replication is for the high availability replication. So that is also we'll discuss the HANA HADR, HANA high availability. Okay. So license ammo. So life cycle management. In the life cycle management, we have the two types of life cycle management: application life cycle management and platform life cycle management. Application life cycle management is for the applications, means functional team and development team, they will work on it for transports and other installation purpose. This is platform lifecycle management for us. So how many types of lifecycle management? Application lifecycle management and platform lifecycle management. Application lifecycle management will be used by our functional and development teams. So platform lifecycle management will be used by our basis teams. Here we can use this one to updating our components. So everything we can use this one. We can use this one to update our components and everything. We can use this configuration. All right. This is the one we can use it. So this configuration. Life cycle management. So normally they are using HDB LCM tools to updating the components, installations, and everything. Right? Backup and recovery also we will discuss. Security also will discuss. So modeling, HANA modeler is for the development team. They will create the developers. So adding the system to different user, the properties. So here we have one more tab. So we have the tab, still topics are there. Don't think we have completed the HANA administration, but still we have tabs are there. So we have to next task we have to discuss about the license, HANA license part. So where can we apply the license in SAP level? What is the transaction code for applying the license?
S license.
Yes, license. So that is for the SAP applications to use that license, right? So it's not free of softwares. It's a cost based. So we have to pay some amount to the SAP who released this product, right? Same as like HANA also. So for HANA also, how to track the license? Where to check the license? It's also license, right? This is also product database. Everything there is a license, right? License agreement. So in our mobile phone, laptop, there is a license agreements, right? So same as like here also we have the license. So where to check the license, HANA license?